Good morning, my Teaserking family. How's everybody today? I'm a little bit sore in my back and my side. I don't know where that's coming from. Well, the back's been there, but now like the side. I did a little workout yesterday, but the hot tub was so I couldn't take my hot tub, so I didn't play poker. But I don't know if I'm doing too much workout because I'm sore, but that seems more like a pulled muscle. The other one seems like a nerve. Anyways, I'm confused. Do I stretch it and work it out, or do I not? And it was feeling good, and now yesterday night it started hurting, so I didn't play poker because couldn't take the hot tub to relax it. Hopefully it's working today, the hot tub, so I can soak it, and then I don't know what to do with the workout anymore. Anyway, so much for that. Coin store. Go to the coin store after our little thing, and he had, I don't know, I bought 11 ounces of buffalo silver. He had 3 ounces of gold US. He had, I believe, 2 ounces of Cougarans. He had 1 ounce of maple leaf. Then he had one little Credit Suisse, that little bar I show you, the 1 ounce little bar. And he had 2 halves. And I really didn't buy any of the gold. And the silver was $25 an ounce. So I got 11 of them. And, so pretty much business as usual. And then an ironic thing happened, and here's where I think fate comes in. So this lady comes in. So I bullshit with the guys after a little bit. What's going on? Are you able to get supply? I'm digging for information. And so this woman and her daughter comes in, and I don't realize I know the woman from a year ago, from before I went to Alabama. I met this woman in the coin shop and she says, "Can you help me? Can anybody help me?" And I'm there. "Yeah, what do you need?" "Well, can you explain this to me?" So, of course, being the professor, I go and explain it to her. And this was before I went to Alabama, but I think I knew it. So this was probably last September. I was in Alabama. Well, this was over a year ago because I was 6 months in Alabama, and now this is 6 more months. And I worked here. Yeah, so this was like not last September, but a year ago, September. So almost 2 years ago. And so she says, "Do I know you?" And I says, "Well, I don't know. I don't get that I know you right off the bat." I said, "There was some lady I talked to, and we went into the little Coney Island, it's a little restaurant. And I said, I taught her economics and gold, just like I do here." And she said, "That was me." And she said, "Everything you said was right," which made me feel happy. I said, "Well, yeah, I know. I mean, they're not my concepts. They're my concepts after reading, as if anybody would do. So I take a master's in Austrian economics and understand gold and silver, and I do my own learning." And that's what I basically told her. So it wasn't like I'm just coming out of the blue with it. Now, the way I handicap, that's my own analysis. So when I handicap football for you guys and for me, or poker, that's all me. The handicapping football is my strategies, and they work. And I keep trialing and error until they work. But they work. Where the gold and the silver is pretty much, it's pretty much my analysis, but being taught it, right, in a master setting with a good teacher. So basically, when I talk to you about inflation, that's not my theory on it. It is what it is, the way I was taught it. But I do put in a little of my own, like for the gold and silver. Then I start bringing in my football expertise to kind of figure out what to do with gold and silver. Anyway, she says everything you said was right. She just bought a 500-ounce box of, I guess there's a green box which has 500 ounces of silver in it, and she bought that not with me. She'd already bought it, and so I did the math. She spent $16,000 on it, and I divided it out by 500. And she paid $32 an ounce. And I said, "Well, you'd have been better with the buffaloes at $25 an ounce. You would have been able to buy more, and it really doesn't matter because it's an ounce." And then she's confused by if it's dollars or bullion. And I say, well, bullion isn't a coin that is really like a eagle that's $35 says $1 on it, right? I show you that. So it's really got a $1 value. Well, who the fuck wants silver? You're not paying $1 for it. If you could, that'd be a different story. If you catch some guy that's really slow and he sees the dollar value and says, well, it's a dollar value, I'll charge you $1. But nobody wants it for the dollar. You're buying it for right now you're paying 25, 26, 35 if you want the eagle. But if you just want the bullion, the buffalo or whatever, it's 25. The spot's 21. So why would you? So you would never buy it as money. And she had a lot of the same concerns as you guys, and I told her about that. And I said, the biggest question my class has is if the value of gold goes up or value of silver goes through the roof, right? So if gold's $6,000, is there still demand? Can you still get rid of it? And thinking that the only reason you're buying it is because it's cheap, but you're not buying it because it's cheap. You're buying it because you want to. You're buying it because you want to. You get out of the dollar, and then it's also going to go up. So there's a double edge that why you're buying it, but it is way undervalued. So the logic behind the question is, well, when it gets up to value, will there still be demand? And my answer is yes, of course. Just like they sell Ferraris for $400, $500, $600 grand. Who knows what they are now? They were $400 grand. So if they sell Ferraris, there's buyers. There'll be buyers for gold. People will realize they need gold and will pay whatever, or they'll buy quarter ounces or half ounces. So that was their first concern. Will I be able to sell it? And I said, absolutely. And then secondly, what if the government confiscates it? And really, we came to an understanding that, first of all, the U.S. government doesn't think anybody has it. They were on a gold standard and wanted to do these social programs, the Social Security and these reliefs, because we were in a depression caused by FDR and Keynes in the 30s. It should have been over 1930. Yeah, the stock market crash is just a correction, and then you'd be done, and then let it go, and then it hits market. And see, if you just let the market control everything, you wouldn't have these problems. So he goes. So you have this where they come and get the gold because they need more gold to do Social Security or to do the food relief or to do all these social programs that shouldn't be done, these Ponzi schemes. Here's the initial Ponzi scheme, right? And so therefore, that should never, that was the reason they took the gold, was because of that. But even then, they didn't knock on your door. I mean, I think when you bought stuff with gold, they just kept it then. They said, okay, thank you. And they whoever got the gold, they took it from them and they paid them dollars. So it's not like you just got stolen. It's just you got paid in dollars. So now I said, now we're not on the gold standard, right? There's no gold standard. So we don't need gold to back the money. That's what we need in the 30s. I says, I don't see it. I says, if you're worried by this, they'll never take your gold jewelry. They just want the coins or the bars. And I said, so buy. She says, I have that. And I says, well, they'll never take silver because they don't see it the same as gold. So you never, if you just bought 500 ounces of silver, you don't have to worry about that. Then it's and then the gold, if you want, buy quarter ounces and half ounces, and she's trying to stay under the radar, which I said, well, they're going to 1099 you, but only at a certain amount, right? I think it's 10,000. So if you just turn in 9,000, you don't have to worry about 1099s. Then the guy at the store is trying to say, but if you buy Eagles, they won't be 1099, which I don't understand that at all. Fortunately, I have a lot of Eagles and Cougarans and Maple Leafs, but I have most of my smaller stuff, quarters and halves, are in Eagles. And I got quite a few dollars, ounces in Eagles, but then I also have bought some Cougarans. And I'm not worried about it. When it hits the price, I'll maybe, if I don't get 1099, I'll sell an Eagle. And I said, and the guy kind of said, well, so they're getting prepared for it. The guy at the gold store says, well, if it's over 10 grand or something, we'll issue a check. And he says, the problem is then you'll have to go to the bank to cash it, and you're going to get dollars. And I don't even know if you'll get dollars. If I get a check for 50 grand, which I don't want, and I go to the bank, they're not going to have $50,000 for me. I'll have to put it in my account. Now, he thinks, the guy at the coin store is like, well, but you don't want this anyway. And my point is, I will never sell my gold. By the time gold hits 50,000, this won't exist anymore. They'll have the new money. And he said that the money they'll have is the Canadian sort of like plastic money, right? It's not paper as much as it's plastic. So that's what they'll come out with, or coming out with. And that's, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. There'll always be this. I know these people are central bank digital currency, and they're all peeing in their pants, and they're all worried about it. And I'm like, but it's not made for 350 million people. They're not going to be able to have 350 million accounts. They're the central bank, which is set up to help the other banks. They help Wells Fargo and Chase and, Comerica or whatever bank you have. They're set up to help the banks, to save the banks. If they have problems, they square them off, lend them money. That's what a central bank is. It's head of the banks. That's like saying the BIS, the Bank of International Settlements, which is the central bank for the central banks all over the world. Well, they're not going to digital it and have the whole world have a BIS central bank account. I mean, it's insane. So now Wells Fargo and Chase and Comerica then issue, they won't issue cash. It'll be central bank digital currency from Wells Fargo. I don't know. I don't imagine. I mean, that's how it would have to happen, but I don't. They're not anywhere near ready for it. I talked to the banks. They're clueless. The barbecue place is clueless. Nobody's ready for this now, but this is collapsing now, and Putin's comes out with his backed by gold pretty soon. That's what the war is about. Putin bankrupting the U.S. basically. So when that happens, gold will go through the roof. And then can you have gold in this? So again, the competition for this is gold, right? Let me get my silver. Here's the Cougaran I wanted to show you. So this is for you, Bobby. Here's a silver Cougaran. So I mean, it's the same 1 ounce fine silver. So I mean, it's not money in the sense it doesn't say it's worth. It doesn't say it's worth $1, but we don't care. We're not buying it for that. And then the lady asked a good question. She says, "How do we know this is silver?" And it says there's two ways. One, you put a magnet on it. If it sticks, it's not. And two, it says 1 ounce of fine silver. So I don't think anybody's going to have a problem if it says 1 ounce of fine silver that it's there. Right? If it doesn't say anything, then you're going to have a problem. So now we come to this is competition for this. Nobody seems to understand that concept. The whole thing about being a capitalist and laissez-faire economics and Adam Smith is competition and substitute goods. What JP Morgan doesn't want anybody competing with their monopoly, and this is competition, which is why they keep if you notice, it's JP Morgan running the derivatives and JP Morgan printing the money, right? So JP Morgan saying keep the price down to keep people away from wanting to buy this and saying, look, it has no value. Again, people that don't understand don't realize, oh, well, it's only $21. I'm not going to make any money with it. So now all of a sudden people wanting to get out of this are looking to make money, AKA I watched Madoff again, just taking notes going, what the hell? How stupid were these people? And so what you're trying to do, you have this. You couldn't put it in the bank because you were getting 0% savings. Now, what are you getting, 2 or 3%? So people are smart enough that they go to work and they make money that they want to invest. They want to grow their money, right? Oh, I got 10,000. I should invest it somewhere. They don't realize it's losing value. They don't realize it's that it's money, it's currency, fiat, and they tend to I'll go into stock. So they get the general, I got 10 grand, I want to make money with it. So they get the concept, but they're not skilled in the education of how do I do it. So you could bet football or play poker like I do, but I understand it down to the science. I can win betting football, as you see. You watch the videos. I give you the picks win. How do I do it? Well, I used my logic and I used all my trend, my analysis, my wizard of being an INFJ. All that comes into play to predict, right? And it works very good because I've been doing it since fucking 1977. Really, I started betting, I think, I know I had, I think I had the Jets in Baltimore. I don't know if I bet on it or not. Maybe, but I doubt I took the Jets, but because I would have probably played the defensive team. But I know I've been betting since then because I remember in the 4th or 5th grade, I was betting quarters with other guys and driving them to tears when I crush them, and they go, how the hell do you do that? So I had that sense way back. So your question is, I have money. I got 20 grand. All right, I've saved my money. I go on vacation. I bought a house. That's an investment. That's a good investment normally. And I have a car and clothes, and I got the kids, and that's expensive. I'm going to save for college. So what do I do with my 20 grand? So you've already bought the house. You got a car that's not an asset. It's a depreciating asset. So when you buy a car for 20 grand, it's worth, you drive it out, it's worth 19 grand. But it still has a value. If you need to get money, you can sell your car and get 19 grand for it. Or as the more you wear, now you can get 10 grand for it. So it always has a value, but as you notice, the value drops. But it's not really an investment per se. It's a need. You need to have a car, unless you're in Switzerland or Amsterdam or these countries where you can take a tram or a bus. You don't really need a car. So if you lived in Switzerland, it's expensive, but you'd be fine without a car. You could just tram to work and tram to the restaurant, tram here and tram there. Or in Amsterdam, it's such a small city, you basically buy a bike and you bike from here to there and you bike from there to here. Or when I was just there, you got on a little subway train type of thing. It wasn't fully underground, but it did go underground. It went underground and then above ground, and that was like $2 for 24 hours. So it's very inexpensive. That's where Europe's a little more socialist. Stuff like that is very cheap, not at market. It's the taxes pay for it. So that's where it's a little bit socialist. So where do I put my money? And that's really the question. So you've got options. You can buy gold and silver with your money, but your problem is, well, this doesn't go up in value. Well, it does, but it's being controlled and manipulated, so it doesn't look like it does. And so you're sitting there, well, I'm not going to go into silver and gold because they don't really go up. And let's see. Don't miss the Girl Scout cookies at the clubhouse. All right. So you have that. What are your options to invest? You can play poker. You can bet football. Take your 20 grand and bet football. But if you lose it, you're awfully pissed. If you win it, then you still need to find a place to invest it. And then you have stocks and bonds, which I wouldn't really do bonds, especially with inflation, which leads you to stocks. So I'm going to buy Apple and Microsoft and everything else. That's what I'm going to get into. And that's kind of what you do. That seems to be where everybody goes. Well, I got 20 grand. I want to make money. I'm going to put it in the stock market. Do you know where to buy? Where and why to buy? No, you don't have a clue. So you end up getting a financial planner or a stockbroker guy and say, here's 20 grand, make me money. And that's what you look at. So you try to, again, you shouldn't be doing it because you don't know how to do it. You have to rely on somebody else. And if you want to ask them questions, then you can do that. And that's what this lady at the store is doing with me. She's trying to learn it. So I applaud her and I am very happy to help her. So that's what, so you're in stocks, but now with inflation hurts stocks because it raises the cost. They can't then charge more. So if Coke's costs go up $1 a bottle, a 2 liter, they can't raise the price $1. And that's really the fallacy that people think, well, they'll just pass it on to the consumer. Well, no, the consumer is not stupid. They're a market and say no. Now in Russia and the communist countries, they just pass it on and that's it. You want Coke, it's $3 for a 2 liter. Otherwise, don't buy it. We don't care. That's the problem with communism. They're not looking at the market. They're just saying, oh, we have inflation, costs go up, off we go. So you're sitting there buying stocks because what are you going to do with 10 grand, 20 grand, whatever the figure is? And the richer you get, now you got 100 grand. Now what do you do with that? It should be working and you don't want to lose it. So what do you do with 100 grand or 10 or 20 or 50? Or just pick the number. What do you do with it? And that's really how many options do you have with your money? So if it ain't gold and silver, it's not a savings account getting you 1%. You can do FX exchanges. So you can buy euros because the price went down and then sell it when the price goes up. You can do that if you know what you're doing. That's a very tough one to do. And you'd better know that or you got killed in it. So, there's betting, football and poker. There's buy gold and silver. There's put the money in a savings account or a CD or a real estate investment trust. And you can join the movie Margin Call and I'm getting 9%, or you can be a Madoff guy. I'm getting 15%. The rest of the world's getting 8. I wonder how that's happening. And I get it every month. Let me be an idiot and just bury my head in the sand going, oh, wow, this is great. Every month I get paid, but he's buying stock. The market crashed. How did he make money? I mean, that's the insane part of it, right? So I don't feel sorry for those people when they lose their money because they were, yes, they were Ponzi scam, but they allowed themselves to not be educational. They allowed them to just trust it and say, well, he knows what he's doing. I'll leave my money in it. It's sort of like you're at the crap table and you think the 7 will never hit. Oh, I hit 6, I hit 8, I hit 9. I'll just keep my money out there. I keep getting money back. 7 out. Well, there's always the 7 out. That's why I get in and out of my gold stocks as soon as I can. And so that's what you do. Football, I quit a winner. Poker, I quit a winner because you're going to lose. It's just, it has to happen. You can't be stupid. And so you just, okay, I won $50. Thank you. You're just trying to win. So now you got the kicker of, well, I want to get out of dollars because they're losing value. This is the car. This is the $20,000 Toyota that's now worth about $500. And it's going to zero. Although, well, it's different. It's a car. I can at least use it to drive back and forth to work and the gym and the grocery store, where it can't buy as much as it used to. And I told the lady, I said, like, she's having problems with the husband about getting her money out of, the IRA account, where she's got, let's say, 100,000, and she knows if she pulls it, she's going to pay a 20% tax on it. So she's like, I'll only get 80. And I said, well, if you leave it in there, you're going to probably have 0. If you get it out, you have the 100, and then you go to 80. And I said, so is 80 better than 0? You're going to pay tax on it regardless. You knew that going in, that you're going to pay tax on it. I don't know, what was it before, 10, 15%? Now it's 20. So I said, either way, you knew you were going to pay tax. You didn't pay tax when you put it in. They're getting the tax now. That's the scam part of an IRA, is maybe it's better to not put it in an IRA and not get it. Yeah, you save on the tax, but if it's a low tax period, you probably want to get it taxed now and not later, because there's so many different presidents who make so many different laws on taxes. And if you're inflating the dollar, you want to tax it. So then they go and tax, so maybe I should tax it now and not wait 10 years till I retire, or 20 years, and then the tax is double. And the money's inflated. So I'm telling her, well, I'd rather have the 90 or 80 grand than 0, because the money in the IRA probably goes to 0. Now, I'm not quite sure, because I got a little bit of money left in mine, because I'm really not sure what to do with it. I don't know. See, if banks go out, they'll just say, we don't have your money. Sorry. I don't know if that happens with I'm in E-Trade, which is owned by JP Morgan, which I hate. So I don't know if JP Morgan will then, sorry, you lost your money. I don't know what's going to happen to everybody's stock accounts. So you own a 500 shares of Microsoft or Coca-Cola. I don't know what happens to your money. I think they come out with new money and they'll probably have to reprice, but I think you'll be okay. So I think my 25 grand in my IRA will still be okay. And then I'll just get paid out in new money. I'm not sure. And I really don't know what to do with that. I want to keep some to buy gold stocks with after the crash, but we'll see. Anyway, so I've already pulled a lot out and bought gold and silver with it. So everything I can do is I'm getting it out of this and buying that. So then we come to, okay, we're going to get rid of bad money and we're going to buy, is this an investment or is this safety? Because I can't stay in this. So it's get out of this, and then it's what? And so you go into this for safety, And then you can still, okay, I've turned 20 grand into 20 grand, but now it's gold and silver. Now it's much safer, but it's not what JP Morgan wants. And you got to worry about, having it maybe. I'm not worried about it, but I mean, if you want to switch money over, it's not in the bank. Although there are safes you can put it in. Like I said, in Switzerland, I can take my money to Switzerland, but every week I go buy 10, 20 ounces. I'm going to fly to Switzerland with it. So, I mean, that's what I could do, but then it's a pain in the ass. What if I can't fly to Switzerland to get my money out? So right now it's with me, but once things happen, we'll figure it out. So I'm basically getting the competition says, okay, bye. All right. So your competition out of here. We're not going to go stocks. We do have money for poker and football. And then the rest of it, we're going to put into this gold and silver. And it won't go down in value because you can't print it. So there won't be inflation on this. This will not lose its value. It never has in 2,000 years. It never will, because there's always demand, and they're not inflating it by printing more. The reason this is being inflated is they printed $10 trillion. And it's coming back from China and Japan. China, again, is selling their dollars in, another $1 billion or 10 billion or whatever. So that means they're paying down their debt and the money comes back to us. Now there's twice as much money in the U.S., which is really making this inflation. So inflation is not going down, but as people return their dollars back to the U.S., they're not turning it, they're still heavy inflation. They can say it's 6.75, but it's really 15 to 20 when you include food. How do you not include food, rent, and utilities and say, well, here's my inflation minus these things? Like, excuse me. I know rent's gone up a whole lot for everybody, or housing, of course, mortgages, and then utilities are going up, especially in Europe. Not as bad here, but that's what you have. So you have this. Now the kicker is, so this is really not an investment like Microsoft, right? This is not, I'm buying a stock, it'll go up, because there's no reason for it to go up. But this doesn't go up. This only goes down in value, right? $35 to buy your ounce. Now it takes $1,900 to buy your ounce, or $1,970, I think, yesterday. So it takes you almost, let's say, $2,000 to buy it. This is still an ounce. So this is what's going down. This isn't getting more valuable. It's getting valuable in these terms. I need more to buy this. That's what it is. So silver's out here, and you're sitting there going, okay, so this is a nice out of that, but how do I make money with silver? So now here comes the double catch. Because JP Morgan doesn't want competition, has been keeping this price low. I mean, it was like $5, now it's in the 20s, right? And they're keeping the price low on purpose because they know once silver goes, gold goes, and it goes to the moon. So they're trying to keep their foot on it, but they can't because there's too much demand for it, and the BRICS countries and everything else. So you're going to get a double hit. Not only are you getting your money out and you found the competition and you substituted dollars for this, but now the price of this will go up. So now this is a investment also, because this will go up in value as this loses value, and as the true price comes out, which is what I scream at. This price is being kept down by JP Morgan by selling derivatives or options. I'm selling 1 million ounces of this at $20. Nobody's buying it, and you're not actually having the physical. This is why I tell you to stay out of ETFs. ETFs is not physical. Even if it says physical, you will never get this out of an ETF. They'll just say, well, we're keeping track of the physical price of gold, of silver, which they don't have. There is no physical price. It's not the COMEX price. It's not the physical. And that's how the ETFs are branded. Once Russia comes out with their gold market to get the actual physical price, then you'll see the actual price, which is why I say it'll be much, much higher. So now you're getting a double kick. I'm going to invest. I got to get out of dollars. I want to play stocks, not in a heavy inflated world with heavy debt that's going to crash. It's going to cause massive unemployment. Why the fuck would I want to be in stocks? How is anybody going to buy, who's buying an Apple phone when they don't have money? They're just trying to eat. So Apple stock drops, Tesla stock drops. I got a Tesla one for you. And so once you see all that, this then goes up because this is safety and everybody goes into it. And everybody says, well, you only buy it when it needs safety, when everything crashes. Well, that's what's happening. Everything's crashing. And that's not the only time you have it. You should always have this. This is always protection. So we're waiting. We're doing a double buy here. We're buying to get out of the dollar, which is losing money. And so it's like buying a new car. But we're also we're going to get a huge value increase on it because this has never been at the proper value, right? This should be, okay, if we go 8-1 and gold's 2,000 in fantasy land, because it's not the real price of gold either, this should be 250. This is 8-1. So 8, as I explained to my friend yesterday, 8 of these will buy you an ounce of gold. So you just bought 500 ounces. So you really don't need to buy gold. You kind of do and don't. Like you'll take 8 of these and buy gold with them. But on the other hand, you still can buy gold. You can buy a quarter ounce for $500. Like, dude, go buy. And don't be afraid of, the government will take it, so I won't buy it. No, that's what they want you to think. They want you to not buy it, so they'll come up with any scare story. But how are they really going to know you have it? What are they going to do? Knock on your door, give me your gold? I'm not home, you have no warrant, and you're not coming in my house, and I don't have any gold. What are you talking about? So that's what you do, but they're not going to come into your house. It's when you sell it. So they're not going to take it. They figure they'll make the money when you sell the gold, and they're assuming it's going to go up. Otherwise, why would they come out with a 1099? I mean, it's just money. If I sell this today, I'm not going to get I didn't make any money on it, right? I paid $25 for this. And if I go to the store today, I'll get $22 because that's the spot price. So I'm going to get spot on it. So therefore, what 1099? Why would I get 1099? I didn't make any money. So that's what this is, and gold, of course. And it's hugely demanded. Everybody wants it. All the central banks are buying it. So don't ever think there's no demand for this product. But this is the only substitute for this. And that's what we're looking for in Austrian economics. Prices are too high, so we have our market, right? Here's the market for dollars. Here's the prices going out. So this is what you want, right? Here's the market. I want Canadian Club, and here's what Canadian Club sells for, and I buy it. And as the dollar's coming down, the demand for dollars changes now to demand for gold and silver. But the demand for money never leaves. It's, do I want dollars or do I want gold and silver? Well, everybody needs money, so there's huge demand for it, but the price isn't caught up. So you're always going to want the silver or the gold because this is going valued, unless they come out with this, which is backed by gold. And then theoretically, you're okay. If you turn the dollar into the bank, you get gold for it. So then you're like, oh, okay, then I don't mind those. And that's where you've got, that's how the U.S. started, Spain, France, England, they all had gold, and that's how they become superpowers. And here's the next one's China with 40,000 tons of gold. I mean, look out. And the same thing with Russia. All of a sudden, you're making them rich because you don't want anybody competing with your dollar, so you're keeping the price of this down. But then what happens is you're letting unfriendlies in, and they're buying it all going, I can't believe how cheap it is. And they're printing money to buy it, right? So the Russians are printing, give me another 10 million rubles. I'm going to go buy more gold and silver. China has mines, so they got it, but China bought at least 30,000 tons from us. I heard a report from the gold guy at the gold store that they found there's no gold in Fort Knox. And I laughed. I said, well, I knew there wasn't. So he's kind of verified that they either went in and couldn't find it or they just admitted it. But there is no gold in Fort Knox. So that 8,000 tons that they want you to believe they have, they don't have. So if China has all the gold, they'll come out with dollars backed by gold, which protects them. So in a sense, what China's doing is they're saying, we don't want dollars. Nobody was going to trust us with their yen or our Russian rubles. So we're substituting this for this. That's what China and Russia are doing, and India, and every central bank is doing it too. Every central bank in the world buying as much gold as they can. Now, you'll see my comment on that show. I showed it to you yesterday. They don't get it. They think they're buying it because of the derivatives, and they're buying it to get out of U.S. dollars is why the central banks are buying gold. It's the only substitute there is for the dollar is gold, because they can't, their dollar's printed the same way because all these idiots printed the dollar to death, or the ruble or the yuan or the yen or the euro or whatever, Swiss franc, whatever you want to call it. For some reason, all these idiots printed their dollar to death. Now we know euro and the yen are coming out with new dollars in 2024. I doubt it'll wait that long. They'll have to come out with it earlier. I guess Canada's coming out with the plastic type of dollars. And then from what I heard, we're coming out with the same as Canada, the plastic dollars. And basically, I heard they're getting rid of the penny, the $1, and the $5, and they'll just have coin instead. So there'll be a $1. So this will be this will be a $1. So this will, I don't think I have a. Oh yeah, I do. So what'll happen is they'll come out with this, which actually says $1 on it, right? So you see how it says $1? That's where this has the value. So are you going to use this for $1, or are you going to use this for if it's worth $2,000, are we going to use it for the dollar or the 2,000 it's worth? And that's basically my point. So a lot of it's substituting, and that's what the central banks are doing. But because I'm an Austrian economist and not a Wall Street salesman, or I'm selling gold and silver, or a stock guy, I'm able to see this and they can't. They don't understand it. They don't understand. I'm talking about the guy yesterday, the bald guy with the cowboy hat and all those. The guys that we watch that frustrate me, the Peter Schiffs, the Rick Rules, all these idiots don't understand that concept. They don't understand you're getting out of you're substituting, and you're going to competition. So I'm substituting this for this, right? This is $1, this is $1. I'm substituting. I don't want this, so I'm trading it for this. That's it. Now back to our investment lessons. So people run into stocks. Even that's manipulated. I mean, if you think Madoff is the only Ponzi scheme out there, you're crazy. They're doing it with IRAs. They're doing it with taxes. They're doing it with inflation. They're doing it with stocks. Look at gold. I show you gold 10 o'clock every morning. Gold's down every morning at 10, and then by 10:30, it's up. What is that? That's the Ponzi scheme, right? So it's all over the place. So don't be surprised, but don't get caught. That's why you get in, you get out, because it's all Ponzi scheme. They just think we're stupid and we won't figure it out. That's why everything's in cryptic. You can't understand. When Powell says his statements for the Federal Reserve, and everybody's like, what the fuck did he say? He's doing it on purpose because he doesn't want to make it clear and simple so you would actually understand it. Then you would realize the Ponzi scheme. So to not realize the Ponzi scheme, he does that. And everybody's like, what the fuck did he say? It's not even in English. That's why I'm so lower level, because I'm the exact opposite. I want everybody to understand what's going on, not confuse them. So you can invest. So you got your, let's say, oh yeah, you got 20 grand. Now, what do I do with it? So, okay, I put it in stocks. I had to have a broker tell me that cost me money. He was wrong on a lot. That cost me money. You know, the funny thing is, you can never be wrong on this, right? If I buy silver and I ignore COMEX, this always goes up in value. There is never will go down in value on physical. And if you ignore COMEX, it's the only investment or holding that you can't lose on it. This is my lock, right? I cannot lose on gold and silver because nobody's selling the fucking stuff, right? Who's selling gold and silver? The only people is at the coin store selling it is the people that need money because they took their money and put it in stock or made off or whatever they did with it. They put their money in it and lost. And now they're having their money and it's declining. So these guys come with their little gold and silver. The guy gives them spot and screws them. And then they get they're the only people selling gold and silver at this point. Now, what I told Phil a couple of days ago and what I'll repeat is, but if I need the money, if I need this to pay a bill or something comes up, a car or, I don't know, your kids needs money or something, then you go back and you go, here, give me back the dollar. And the guy will give you back your dollars, whatever the COMEX price is, guaranteed. He always wants it. And that's the difference. So the guy's going to always want it. So you don't have a problem selling it. It's not like it goes out of style. It's been around since the Romans, okay? And the Romans in the biggest upset lost to the Germans when they got rid of all their gold. In effect, all their players got old and they got rid of all their gold players, replaced them with copper. And the Germans got all the gold and invaded, and they lost because they couldn't pay their army and the inflation. But it all comes back to ruining your dollars. So with that said, where do you invest? So, yeah, you can put a little bit of Microsoft, but is that going to really help you when all the markets drop, right? And people in China are they're selling their houses now to get money, and they're going to sell their stocks. So it's the whole world has stocks. It's not just U.S. So the rich guys in China and Macau and Russia who own U.S. stocks are now selling to get money. Well, that drops the market because it's an auction. It's supply and demand. If this many people want Microsoft and the price is here, the price goes up. If they all start selling, guess what? The price drops because if I sell some, there's got to be somebody to buy it. And if they're not buying it, the price drops. Sell, drop, sell, drop. So the market's here. You're going to get all these sells because people need money or the company's earnings aren't going to be good. Sell, sell, sell. But there's nobody on this end to buy it. It's a Ponzi scheme, right? What did Madoff do? You know, people wanted their money, but if you didn't have new money coming in, that's why he died. So that's the stock market, right? If there's nobody bidding up Coca-Cola and everybody's selling it, the price will drop. And then when people saw, then what do these portfolio managers do? They go, oh, buy this stock, buy Amazon. It's cheap. It's going to come back because it's dropped, and the only way to get it back is to sell that it's going to come back up. And I hear that with Bitcoin all the time. Well, Bitcoin dropped. I'm going to buy it now because it's going to go up. And you're like, well, why? I can see Coca-Cola had good earnings and good sales, and it's Coca-Cola. And, it did dip, but it's Coke and everything's fine. So it should come back. Because if they sell it because they needed money, then that's really not a problem with the stock. Then yes, it'll bounce back. Just like when they sell their silver. So if I go into the store and I need money and I sell this, I'm not selling it because I don't want it or it's losing value. I'm selling it because I need this to pay bills or whatever, right? Kids going to college, I need this. That's the ironic part, is how long will everybody still take this? And that's the end of it. When people say, I don't want it anymore, that's when this goes to the moon. So that's really your investment choices. Now, if you play poker or you bet football, there's no tax on it. So that's beautiful. Beating, it's a bitch, but if you can beat it, you don't pay tax. I don't pay. There's not a penny of tax I pay on football. I'll go Caesars and I'll make $1,000 bet and I win $1,000. No, there's no 1099. There's no tax I pay on it. It's all free. Same thing with poker. I win $1,000 in the poker room. I get up and I walk out and I cash in and I get $1,000 and I walk out. There's no tax. So those are big advantages to gambling that I don't know. See, in other words, stocks are taxed, right? You get the 1099. This is your capital, your capital gains bullshit. Well, I'm taking probably a bigger risk in stocks than I am in football and poker, because at least in poker, I can see the guy, right? I can go, yeah, he's probably bluffing, or, I got a full house. I'm going to win. I'm going to bet. I mean, there's not that much risk. If you were to just fold on a big bet, assuming the guy has it, even if he's bluffing you, and just wait till you got the cards, well, hey, I got a set. I know I'm winning, and you can just narrow it down to those, which is what I think the professionals really do. I played professionals at the Wynn, and I noticed they're professionals more than the Venetian or Caesars. And when they play, they're very tight, and they're only opening up when they got something, right? Okay, I hit my flush. I'm betting $80. That's when they bet. They don't want to take the risk. Very rarely bluffing. I mean, I watch the hand. They very rarely, they're betting enough to get you to call when they have the flush or the full house or whatever it is. So that's how the professionals play. We got to make some money, and then it's tax-free, basically. So that's one way. So you can invest that way, but what we're getting is the investment double, because not only are we getting out of trouble into something that has a value that won't go down ever and will go, but we're also getting it where it's going to go up in value. So in other words, if JP Morgan wasn't price fixing this, and this was not $25, and the true value was kept like Canadian Club and like everything else, where the market dictates what it is, or like I showed you on eBay, the Michael Jordan card's $1,000 for that Topps Finest. Okay. So that's what the market agreed on. So if this was at market, and let's say the market on this is $2,000, that's what I think it will be at least, then I would have paid $2,000 for it. Now I'm not expecting it to go up in value. Now it's just simply, it's not going to go down, but I'm not going to get interest on it. That's when they say about the interest. They assume its price is correct, which it's not. It's part of the scam. And so therefore on the derivative, it says, well, it's $22 is the COMEX price, which you can't find it at. You go to the store, it's 20. I paid $25 for it yesterday. And then they'll say, well, you don't get interest on it. Like, at least if my money's in the bank, I get 2% or whatever. So I make money. Yeah, but you get taxed on it. So you end up probably breaking even, locking your money up for 3 years to get your 2% and losing the value of your money because of the inflation. Well, okay, I don't get interest, but I do get the value of it going up, and I don't have any inflation on this. So interest rates are not attached to that. Therefore, I'm not losing 10% or 20% of my money like I do on here. So this went from $100 to $2. This is, was never $100 what it should have been. But let's say this was 119.13. It's still 100 now. Well, it's probably a little bit more, but it's not going to get inflated. It's not going to lose value, and interest rates won't affect it positively or negatively. But what will happen is demand will come in because you keep fucking up with the money because you're not backing it by gold or silver. So therefore, this goes up to its true market, which is the $1,000 for the Jordan card. So this, this is here. and it's up here, but the price is down. So the price will zoom back. So this is a very unique time, and only a few people like me can understand. Forget the derivative price. It's fantasy land. It's not the real price. If you were to scratch that out and then put it in a free market on eBay, we don't know what the price is. You determine. Let the market determine it. That's where I'm saying you'll get 2,000 for it. And you have to think out of the box, which is what I do very well, to understand that that's what's going to happen to gold and silver. It'll go up to its regular market price that it's being manipulated down because they don't want competition. JP Morgan doesn't want competition for this. He wants you in this. Now, some people say, well, the government want to control you, or the government wants to keep you poor. If the government's taxing me, they don't want to keep me poor, because then they want their taxes, right? So you hit the lottery, right? There's no law against hitting the lottery. But when you go file your taxes and you hit $1 million, you're going to pay, what, 40, 50% in taxes. So that's how the government gets you. Yeah, it's a big hit, and it's wrong. And it's because you made a lot of money, you pay a lot in taxes. It's ridiculous. So what really is happening is the government doesn't mind you getting rich as long as they get their taxes out of it. Because if you notice, that's how all the mafia guys get caught, is tax evasion. Not that they're doing, because they can't catch them doing anything illegal. They catch them, you didn't pay taxes on it. Like Scarface, right? He's in, how are you affording this house and these cars and everything else because you don't have a job? That's how they get caught. So when you do their income taxes, they should show $5 million, and then that's how they can afford this house. But they can't say it because selling cocaine is not legal. That's what money laundering is. So they open up a paint shop and say, oh, I made $2 million on the paint shop, which is legal. And then they pay their tax on that, which they don't care. And then they can be in their house because, look, I can afford it from my paint shop. That's what money laundering is. That it's laundering money from illegal operations to make it look legal, so they can now be in a nice house and car and say, look, here's where I'm at. And that's what's going on. So those are your investment options. This is really not an investment. This is substituting. This is the competition away from this, because this is going to zero. Now, you could have gone into euros or British pounds or Swiss francs, but they're all the same. The whole dollar structure is going to zero. So the competition's this. You can't lose with it. If you need money, you can trade. You go back to the store, go on eBay, get your money, and then you'll have the money to pay bills. It's usually just to pay the bills, right? So you got to be careful. Like, that's what I'm balancing, is buying more gold and silver, but then keeping enough money out so I don't have to sell at these low prices, because I know they'll be much higher. And I'm anticipating this to happen soon. Now, of course, everybody, when, give me a date. Well, I can't. Nobody knows the date, because it's when Putin wants it to happen. It's all in Putin's hands right now. He will pull the trigger because we've already sanctioned him. We've fucked ourselves sanctioning him. Unless we wanted him to fuck us in the first place. So in other words, if Putin says, okay, we're putting out gold-backed money, and we're coming out with a gold physical exchange, that's it. Why would you want dollars when you can substitute for this and or dollar backed by gold? So now you have to compete. Can this compete with this? No. JP Morgan's telling you that. Can this compete with a ruble or yuan or BRICS money backed by gold? No. So it can't compete. So you have to come out with this backed by gold, but we can't. We don't have any gold to back it. So the U.S. is totally fucked. We've not bought any gold because the Keynesians say, oh, gold, you don't need it. It doesn't have a value. We'll just print more money, is the way these idiots think, right? I'll just print more. I'll print more. I'll print more. It won't hurt the value. What, are you kidding me? So we can let's take it to Michael Jordan card, right? The 86 Flair's worth over $1 million. Because there's not a lot of PSA 10s, because it was very hard to get them centered. But the Barry Sanders rookie in Topps is not worth that, or Pro Set, because they printed way too many, hurting the value. And that's what's happened with the dollar. So if you print all the value of it, so what the problem is doing that. So I'm going to show you something. Here's a stock tip. A new Tesla model came out for $27,000. All right. Let you read it, and then because I can't read it up backwards. Okay, so this is Tesla trying to sell a product there's no demand for. Right? So let me read it. A new Tesla Model 3 for as little as $27,000. It's possible in Oregon. Not long ago, you couldn't get a new Tesla electric for less than $50,000, all said and done. The market's down here. Tesla's trying to sell a car that there's no demand for 50 grand, and there's no demand. So he's way up here in fantasy land in a market where there's no demand and a price there's no demand for. Now he lowers it, not from 50 to 40, but from 27. Is there demand for an electric vehicle at 27? And that's probably what this government incentive included in it. So is there demand for this car at 27,000? He doesn't know what the market is. And as I explained yesterday, you could figure out the Canadian club market. So I'm opening up, me and Bobby are going into business, Canadian club. What do we look at? Okay, it's a new product. We go to the whiskey aisle and we look at, what is it, Royal or Crown Royal, and we look at Dewar's, and we look at, what is it, Black Label, and we look at Maker's Mark, and what's whiskey selling for? And that gives us an idea where we fit in the market. Well, how the hell do you do that with electric cars, right? You really can't, because it's not a market yet. So what Tesla's doing is incredibly stupid. If there was demand for it, you need to know what the price is. And I would assume you look at what am I going to call this? Is this a Mercedes or is this a Camry? And that'll give you, because there's different markets, right? Mercedes, you're going to spend 70, 80 grand on a Mercedes. But on a Camry, you're spending 30 grand on it. So everybody finds their niche in the market, right? So you want to sell something. Same thing with silver. I can't put an eBay auction for $2,000 now on silver, even though that's where I think it's worth. Nobody would buy it. They'll all buy it for $30, $40. That market of 2,000 is coming, but it isn't here yet. Well, Tesla's trying to sell his car for 50,000. There's no demand. He can't sell it. He can't make money, but he keeps making the car, so he's losing his ass. That's why I don't understand why his stock is. Now, did his stock just go up because he lowered it to 27,000? People thinking he's going to sell more. Well, what's his cost? What is he making profit? Was he making profit at 50,000, but now is he making profit at 27,000? And so that's one of your investments. Okay, I'm going to move my money out of this into Tesla stock. But does he know what he's doing? It doesn't look like it. If he was 50,000 and now he's 27, well, that's a big fucking difference of what his market is, right? He didn't understand his market at all. Plus, with this recession, depression coming, and the higher interest rates, nobody has 50,000 cash to pay for a car. They're always going to take a 4 or 5 year note out on it. But now the game's changed, where it was 2% is now 9% or 7%. It's a big percentage because the banks don't want to get screwed losing money to inflation and loaning it out. So if they loan out 27 grand, they want to get back, 30 grand. But to do that, they got to charge interest that gets them 35 grand. After the inflation will eat up their money, they'll end up with 30 grand. So that's what they're really calculating out. What do I need to charge to get? And then minus the inflation, and I'm at 30,000, and it's a 27. I'm lending 27. I want to make money on it. They're not stupid. They're not I'm not giving a loan at zero. I'm giving a loan, So that's really what you have is with Tesla missing the market, right? And I don't know. This is a Model 3. I don't know what Tesla has. I don't pay attention to electric cars, but it's a market item. I do pay attention to the market. And with inflation comes higher costs, and then you try to pass them out. That's why I tend to use Oreo cookies or Cheerios, where they're $2.50 a box went to $5, but nobody wants to buy them. And then what do? You see them on sale at Meijer's or Target, where they're like, oh, 2 for 1, or it's on sale this week for $3.50 because they can't get the 5. That's why they put them on sale. The goal of business is to move their inventory, and they can't move their inventory if they don't put it on. If you go over the market price. So the market says, I'll give you $3 for Oreos. You want to raise it to $5. And the market says, I'll go buy the Target brand or the Meijer brand or the Costco brand or whatever. I won't buy. I don't need the Oreo. I don't have the extra $2. So that's what happens. So then they put them on sale, and you go, oh, okay. If Oreos and the no name are the same price, I'll buy Oreos. But if they're going to be $2 higher, I'm buying the no name price. That's what the market is. And we desperately need that. And that's what this is my point. This is not at market. That's why I think it's going to go up, and that's what we're waiting for. And again, I can't give you a deadline, but I can tell you soon, and I can tell you can't lose on it because it's not going to go down in value. There's nothing that would make it go down in value. At worst case, you'll have here comes a dollar backed by gold and silver, but then the value would have to go up considerably to cover the bills with the gold and silver because there's not enough ounces to handle all the dollars. So therefore, they'll have to make it a very high number. So if this dollar is backed by gold or backed by silver, well, I need a lot, and I can't print 10 trillion of these things because there's not 10 trillion of this. There's not 10 trillion ounces of silver. So I've got to figure out how many ounces of silver there are, but it's how many do you own? The U.S. doesn't own any. So when you go to China or Russia and they come out with the dollar backed by gold, it's based on we have this many ounces. So we're going to print this many dollars, and it's going to be, 100, gold will be 100,000 an ounce because otherwise we don't have enough gold to back our dollars. And they'll print $20 gold. It's not going to be all $100,000 bills. It'll be a $20 bill, but it's going to be backed by the gold at that price. That's how it's going to work. But you have to have that. Otherwise, now everybody's scared of that, central bank digital currency. I go, that's got to be between the central banks. It can't be between the public. And one of the things that I read yesterday, it's got to have acceptance and be durable. And is the digital currency accepted and durable? And the answer is no. Gold is, but that's not. People don't want it. So if people don't want it, it's never going to work. Now, they can say, well, we're going to a digital currency, like it or not. That doesn't work like that. What are they going to do? People won't use it. They'll use their gold and silver. There'll be black markets. What happened when they did the ban on alcohol in the 20s or 30s? And Al Capone and all that? What'd they do? You can't sell it. Well, okay, we'll do it underground. And that's what they did. New York, Chicago, they all had black markets selling whiskey because that's what was wanted. So if people don't want to listen, they won't listen. And don't kid yourself. The government's not smart enough to get everybody, right? They go after the big where it's worth their while, right? So they're not going to worry about me having 50 ounces of gold. They're going to go after a guy who has 1 million ounces of gold. But apparently they don't even go after those people because as JP Morgan does so many illegal things, all they get is fined, and they pay the fines because they're making so much money as Ponzi schemers. So that's really what but the government gets paid off. They don't even do that right? So Madoff, the SEC's paid off. They don't even admit that there's a Ponzi scheme. So That's your options with the dollar. You buy an asset. You can buy this. You can buy diamonds. You can buy Rolexes. So you can buy an asset is what it's translated to is assets, right? This is an asset. This is an asset. This is an asset, but really not with much value. So that's what you're looking at. So as you're trying to make money on your money, so you've worked hard, and now you're trying to. I want to retire. I want to make money. Or you're young and you say, you know what? I really want to make money on it. The thing I laugh at is when somebody, these ball players make millions of dollars and then end up poor. Well, fuck, the first thing I'd do is buy a house and a car and pay cash with it. And then I'd buy gold with it and then shove that into the ground somewhere. And then I would take my money and I would buy assets with it. I'd buy gold. I'd buy Picassos. I would buy diamonds. I would buy things of value because that's going to hold the value. But I have to realize this is going to lose value. And that's what nobody understands. They think it's money. They think the $100 bill today is worth what the $100 bill was in 2010. This is not. Nobody understands it. That's why I go to the gold example. So I told my friend yesterday, well, my husband's having problems understanding it. And I said, just tell him this. Gold's $35 an ounce in 71. It's now $2,000 an ounce now. The gold didn't change. It's still an ounce of gold. What changed was the dollar, the value of the dollar dropped. And now with inflation, which is the value of the dollar dropping, it's getting hammered even more. So, you can keep your money in the bank or in an IRA or that, but it's losing value the more you have it. My money now has stopped losing value. Here, my money is going up versus this money going down. This isn't even money. This is just paper crap. So as I change it to this goes up, this goes down. Which side of the elevator do you want to be on? And this is a lock because you can't lose money on it, right? This will go to zero as all currencies that you've inflated like this do. There's like 80 of them. And if you don't believe me, ask the Romans or the Spanish, the French, the English, all who had money backed by gold, who went off the gold standard, mostly because of World War I, the English did. They bought a lot of guns and stuff from us. That's how we got money, was in World War, I think it was World War I or World War II. We were selling them jeeps and planes and weapons and ammunition, and we took gold for it. So that's really what happens. So that's what you want to get into is assets that don't go down, which is gold and silver. Now people will bitch, well, you don't get interest and they don't do anything. And they're just, I'll go down like me talking to the communists, right? Got the hot tub communist, freaking moron. So I'm trying to be nice. I don't know he's a communist at this time. I'm just, hey, buddy, do you have gold and silver? Have you started buying your gold and silver yet? Because I already know the story. I'm telling you the story, so I know it. I've known it since 1993. So, yes, I should have a ton of gold by now because this was $250 an ounce in 1995. So I could have had a lot more gold. Anyway, I got my Joe Montana rookie card and my Mantle card and my Walter Payton rookie. So maybe I'll get it back that way. So we already know the story. So I said to him, do you buy gold? He says, no. And I said, well, everybody's going to get killed because the dollar's going out. And he says, well, I guess I'll be one of them. And I'm looking and I'm like, how fucking stupid are you? I mean, I'm telling you to get out of this because it's being inflated. So he doesn't have a clue. And this is 99% of the fucking population in America, probably not as much in Europe, who don't understand this is losing value because they don't understand inflation. They think it's prices. And they look at what happened in 2000 and 2008, 1980, and go, oh, everything's fine. Yeah, we had inflation and we fought it and we beat it. And now look, everything's fine. And they don't understand the difference this time is the debt and the BRICS countries and nobody wanting the dollar. So yeah, the cute blonde when she was 18, everybody liked her. And then she's 28 and everybody likes her. And she's 38 and everybody likes her. Now she's 68. And guess what? Nobody likes her anymore. Well, they like her, but her looks are not what they were when she was 18 and 28, 38. And that's the difference. People are blindly going, oh, nothing's changed. And yet, no, it has changed. Nobody wants the dollar, and BRICS is coming with a dollar backed by gold. And gold and silver have been so suppressed. And now we're all finding out, wait a minute, it's been suppressed by JP Morgan. Get out of it. And now here comes the avalanche up. That's what you need to understand, that this is going out. That's the first key to this whole thing. This is going to zero. And you want to look for a substitute. You're looking for competition substitute for this. And that's what this is. And this is the only thing. You can buy stocks, but stocks will be in dollars. And the companies are all going to lose their ass because people will lose their jobs. They won't have the money to buy. Sales will drop and the stock price drops. And people will need money because they're not working. So they're going to sell their stocks to get money. Then you have or you have crypto, which is priced in dollars. Now, the difference between this and crypto, in my mind, I have this. This is a value. I have a coin that's got a value. It's silver, right? It might be worth 22 now. Should be worth 2,000 soon. What is your crypto? It's blockchain, whatever the hell that is. You go into a website, you type in, and you go, oh, I got a Bitcoin. What is it? It's not even a coin. I see Bitcoins. If they would have done this with the Bitcoins and came out with them and said this is, but they couldn't because they're not money. They're certainly not gold. I love when they think they're digital gold. Oh, would you rather have this or a Bitcoin that you can't hold that's just, I don't even know what it is. So when you see that, you realize what's going on. So if the dollar goes away, so this goes to zero, what happens to this? This goes through the roof because everybody now needs money and they've gotten out of this. And the only thing they can go to, the only competition for this as money as going to the grocery store and going out to eat is this. There is nothing else. There is no other competition to this but this. So there's nothing to substitute but this. This is the only thing you can substitute. You can't stay in this because nobody's going to take it. They're going to say, we don't want it. Well, we don't want this. So now you're waiting for a new this to come out, or you can be in this, which goes through the roof. And so without this is fine. I can walk into a store with silver. People will take it. What am I going to do with crypto? Okay. The Teaser King doesn't take crypto. You cannot pay me in crypto for my football picks. I don't know what the value is of it. It says 21, 22, 19,000, whatever. Who knows? Now, yes, gold and silver also adjust, but I know gold and silver is actual money legally. And I can walk into a store with it. I can't walk into a store with the crypto, with the Bitcoin. I want this shirt. I'm going to give you a Bitcoin for it. Who's going to take it? You got to have it and take it. And then what do you do with it when you got need to do anything with this? I have it. I can walk into Target. I walk into the barbecue place and I can pay for my meal with this. I don't want to now because it's only worth $25. I want to do it when it's worth $2,000 and have a whole slab of ribs for the silver. But that's what happens, right? So what you're looking at with Bitcoin is what do I have? It's not accepted. Again, what's the key? Number 4. Number 5, acceptance, durable, fungible. Everything is the same. Is a Bitcoin the same? Maybe. Is it scarce? I don't know. Is it portable? Well, it's on your phone, but it's electric, where this I can put in my pocket is portable. So it's a real hard decision. Um, but at the end of the day, if the dollar goes out, what's Bitcoin worth? And you don't have value in Bitcoin. It's valued in dollars. Well, okay, Howard, I have a car. It's valued in dollars. What's the car going to be worth? Okay, you have a Mercedes that was valued at 50,000. The dollar goes away. The car still has value. So now you're going to value it in this. You're going to say, well, I'm going to give you 10 of these for your $50,000 Mercedes. And the guy's going to take it because this is the only thing out there. This is the new monopoly. And JP Morgan doesn't want it. So now they'll probably, so I don't think there'll be digital currency. You'll get that. Well, it'll be between the central banks. It won't be at our level. So then they're going to come out with this new plastic money and say, okay, we just got to change. It's been hacked. We got new designs. So we're going to come out with the new money, plastic, Canadian. The euro, the yen, the yuan, the ruble, they're all coming out with new dollars. Well, that's because you fucked them all up before. They don't have a value. Look what Zimbabwe is doing. Their dollar's so worthless that they've now come out with gold coins so people can live and eat and not lose value with the dollar. And people are in some countries are bitching at them going, oh, you can't have the gold out there. And they're like, no, we're fine. We're going to come out with smaller denominations so people can buy gold. Well, what they don't know is when gold goes through the roof, nobody's going to afford it. When gold hits 50,000 an ounce, people in Zimbabwe are fucked. But they're using it as everyday transactions. So it works in Zimbabwe. And they encourage it to fight inflation because their inflation is like 500% or something. I mean, it's huge. So therefore, their dollar has no value. If they come out with a new dollar, it has no value unless they back it by gold. So their only out was to bring in gold to compete. So this is now the monopoly currency. Nobody wants the Zimbabwe dollar. If I went on a trip to Zimbabwe, I'm taking this. I'm not taking. I don't even know how I could buy Zimbabwe dollars. Oh, here's 100 US dollars, and I get 10 million Zimbabwe dollars. This buys me a McDonald's or something. So that's what you have going on. It was nice seeing this lady. It was really weird. Like, it's been about 2 years, I think, because I've been at Alabama was a year ago, right? So it was almost 2 years ago. It wasn't last summer I saw her. It was the summer before. So it's like a year and a half, almost 2 years. And here I bump into her again, and we're talking. And she recognized me. I knew there was a lady I had talked to and took to the Coney Island to have a hamburger and teach economics with, but I didn't realize it was her. I was surprised she never contacted me. So this time I gave her my Teaserking card with my email, and I said, email me. And if you need me to talk to your husband about your money in the IRA, I'll be happy to explain it to him. But it was nice. Oh, you're right about everything. And I'm kind of like, yeah, I know I'm right about everything. It's just proving it to people, especially communists. So again, the communist is going to be sitting there, not in gold and silver. The only protection you have is gold and silver. It's the only competitive thing for the dollar. So if you stay in the dollar thinking you're okay, that's where you're going to get killed. You're not going to be okay, because these idiots are printing it to death and have no gold to now say, well, we're going to have this gold-backed dollar. So that's the problem. JP Morgan has some gold. I think they got 300 tons of it. But again, they don't, unless they start backing their dollar with gold. And I don't know if it's all gold or not. I don't know if it's because of COMEX and it's really fake gold. I thought it was, I queried JP Morgan physical gold, and it said I thought it was 300 tons. It might be 3 tons because I thought it was 96, and it's 32,000 ounces to a ton. Maybe it was 3 tons because I thought they had 96,000 ounces. Anyway, so I don't know what JP Morgan, like, they're just printing into oblivion like a bunch of idiots. So I really don't know who runs it. But when you ask the question why, the only answer is China wants to collapse the U.S. They're doing it without a war, and that's exactly what's happening. If you collapse the dollar, let's go back to Rome. Once the dollar fell and they didn't back it by gold and silver, Rome fell. Right? Inflation will kill you every time. We got heavy inflation. We're on our way out. Now you can believe it's the U.S. and we were down this road before and everything was fine. This is totally different because of the debt. They can't raise interest rates. They're killing the economy by raising interest rates and pissing off all the other countries who have U.S. dollars as debt that need to pay us back. That now when they raise interest rates, it costs them more to pay us back of their money that's inflated that they don't have. So it's all going to blow up, and then it'll be the monopoly switches to this. God, talking about it, I should go buy another 1,000 ounces of silver, for Christ's sake. Now, one thing I told the lady yesterday, should be an 8-to-1 scenario where 8 pieces of silver buys you an ounce of gold. And if that's the case, we're buying it at $25, but gold's $2,000. It doesn't make sense. So for only $200, I can buy an ounce of gold theoretically in silver world. But silver, you can't do that now. Silver price has to go up to 8-to-1. So let's put an example to keep it easy. If gold is 80,000 an ounce, silver's 10,000, and then you can take 8 ounces of silver is 80,000. Buy your ounce of gold if you want to, and but you need protection, and that's the monopoly. So we've switched monopolies from here to here. That's what's really happening. But the people with the monopoly here don't want to lose it. That's why this is being manipulated down. So everybody looks and doesn't want to buy this monopoly because they don't know it's a monopoly yet. That's why I'm here. So the professor figures out the monopoly, the competition, the whatchamacallit. God, I always do this. Jesus Christ. So there's competition, and then substitute. God, why do I have that? It's always a few words I get a little bit. So you're gonna the competition for this is this, and it's also the substitute for this is this. So it's kind of the same because Oreo cookies, right? The competition is Target brand, and but the substitute could be, let's take it to Doritos. So the competition is Better Made or Lay's or nuts. Okay, that's the difference. So I can substitute Lay's or Doritos or Fritos for almonds, right? That's the difference. I can substitute and get out of chips into nuts versus, so that's also the competition. So is the competition just chips? Fritos, Doritos, Lay's, Better Made, and whatever the chips are. So is the competition other chips, or is the competition also the chips versus the nuts? And I think from a health standpoint, you don't want the chips, you're going to have the nuts. Now, if the price of the nuts has gone up, I look for a 12-ounce bag of almonds unsalted. It's like $8-9 now, and I'm like, fuck, for 16 ounces of almonds. So I'm a little leery. So I'm kind of maybe staying away. Maybe I buy them once a month as opposed to once a week, or that. So that's really what you're looking at. But that is much healthier to buy nuts, almonds. Things like that, not cashews, but almonds or the other one, versus eating chips. Right? Chips are very unhealthy for you, where nuts are very healthy for you, or the sunflower seeds that I showed you a week ago. So that's your competition and kind of your substitution. So I can substitute Oreos with Target brand. That's substitution and competition, or I can get out of cookies and go into something else. That's also more of a substitution. Because I think so. Coca-Cola, their competition's 7-Up and Pepsi, but there's also I can substitute for water, right? I don't need to have the pop. So there's competition within the pop segment, and then there's substitution to other form of drinks, right? I can have Gatorade, I can have water. So that's what I've been doing on my diet. I've been substituting carbs with eggs and steaks and hamburgers and all that stuff. So that's basically what I'm doing. And if you think about it like that, it's easy to do. Oh, I substituted M&Ms for dark chocolate. Okay, I mean, it's fine. It's cheaper and it's healthier for you. So I'm into things that are healthy. So I basically substituted high fructose corn syrup, Thousand Island craft dressings for Thousand Island French Ken's dressing. So I've substituted bad high fructose for no high fructose, and that's what I've done. But when you think of it like that, it's an easy diet because you're creating the substitution to be healthy. And if that's your goal and you understand it's to be healthy, nobody knows why they eat Fritos. It's very unhealthy for you. Why would you eat them? Well, they taste good. Oh, okay. Yeah, they make it taste good and make you want it. But when you get away to almonds, now it's healthy for you. Now you're going, oh yeah, okay, this tastes good too. Not as good as Fritos because there's that chemical in Fritos, but it's the same thing. So that's your marketing and economic class and gold class. So again, one important thing I told my friend yesterday, this is why I listen to a lot of people, and I said, be careful about that. You've got to listen to the right people, not anybody that will tell you. And I said, the way to do it is ask them on their feelings on gold and silver. Like I asked the communist, I said, well, do you have any gold and silver? And he said, no, I'm a communist. That's the end of the conversation. He doesn't understand why I'm not talking to him anymore because there's nowhere for this conversation to go. First of all, I don't want to prove that you don't want to be in paper. You should be in gold and silver because you don't want to learn it. You want to read Karl Marx, tells me you're an idiot. So why would I want to discuss anything with you? So he doesn't quite get, I don't think he's smart enough why I don't want to talk to him. It's a wasted conversation. Being an INFJ, I don't have time for bad conversations. And if you notice, what do I talk here? 2 hours, 3 hours. We don't talk about any bullshit. Everything we talk about is pretty meaningful and helpful. Right? If I talk about girls, competition, gold, football, poker, it's all learning. There's no bullshit in me and there's no wasted time. I repeat because I think somebody new came on and are they going to watch the whole show? Probably, or class? Probably not. So in the beginning, I get the most important part because you'll catch the first 10 minutes, but I am noticing a lot of people will watch most of the class just because it's so learning. And that's why I'm like, I should break it up into, all right, here's gold, what I just talked about. Now let's talk sports. And I should just have a new video on it because it does make it. If you're looking, that's why we're football and the Super Bowl. I talked about that first. I know people were more interested, but when you get deep into it and you want to start buying the gold like Bobby does and the silver, he wants to hear that also and his football. So I'm happy I made everybody money on the Super Bowl. You have no idea how happy that makes me that I picked the game and you guys won. Okay. That makes me very happy. So that's why I do it. That's why I don't, I give some free picks. I'm really trying to teach you how to do it. But it's such an art form that I don't think most of you could do it. You can look at it because there's so much feel to it and so much intuition and psychic ability that you just don't have it. So I don't think you could pick games the way I can pick games. Like when I picked Golden State to beat Toronto last year in Game 2, and it was my 50-unit lock. Why didn't the people who got the lock already have the lock? Why didn't they bet it? Well, they didn't. Why didn't they already know it? That's my point. They didn't know. I gave it to them. They go, okay, they bet it. They won a lot of money, but they didn't have the intuition to figure this is do or die back against the wall for Golden State. That's what I bring to the table, is understanding that kind of stuff, or understanding that this is the new monopoly. This is the monopoly. It's going away. This is the new monopoly. How many people realize gold and silver is a monopoly? None. Nobody realizes it's the monopoly. And when Russia and the BRICS come out with dollars backed by gold, there you go. That's the only currency they can come up with that anybody can trust. It's like Lord of the Rings 2 when Frodo and Gollum are talking, and he says, "I can't trust anything you tell me." And then the ring was binding them, but that didn't work either. But I mean, that's the only thing people are going to trust with Russia and China, is a currency backed by gold. And they're probably not going to buy a lot of it. And then they're going to take it to the bank and they're going to try to cash it. And then if they can cash it, then they'll believe it. So that's going to be the problem with them. But I wouldn't. You're going to trust Russia? I don't think so. So that's what happens. So we will see. But that's how you have to, I'm trying to teach you how to think, how I think, right? And then you can take that any way you want. But I'm very successful at football and poker and this because I know how to think. So that's what I want you guys to do. Anyway, so what else? So soon gold and silver will go up. We know that. It's just, you got to be patient, but really you got to take advantage of it, right? I bought this at $25 an ounce yesterday. I mean, you just gotta go, man. You're getting this for $25. It says an ounce of silver. It looks silver. If I put a magnet up to it, it would be fine. 1 ounce fine silver. I mean, as long as it says that, and I know my friend was like, well, what if it's fake? Well, then how are they going to get 1 ounce of fine silver? I'd like to see a fake and see if it says 1 ounce of fine silver on it. I doubt it. Maybe it would, but I told her the color would be way off because you're not using gold or so. So the fact you're actually using gold, you can't fake that color, right? So if you're going to put copper and call it a gold coin, it's going to be copper looking. It's not going to be gold. Now, maybe you got 60% gold and 40% copper. And then you're going to sell it as a 1 ounce gold coin. Maybe, but the color is going to be so off. Like, let's look at this silver, right? And then I'm going to take out all right, so this is silver, right? There it is. This is silver. We can see the look and the color, right? This is not. This is a quarter that used to be silver until 1960 something. This is a what the fuck? This is a 2000. I can't. It's South Carolina. So do these look the same color? This is the silver one. And this is the quarter with whatever metal they use. So you can see the difference in color. It's not even close. I mean, it's a silverish look, but this is much brighter than this. So that's how you would know, right? If you see this color, you go, hey, man, this is very bright and shiny and pretty, and it looks silver, where this is duller and doesn't have the same brightness. So if you put them together, there's no way they look the same. So that's one way you do it, is if the color is off, it's counterfeit. But I'm not really, if you go to your coin, like where I go, I'm not worried about it. He's a big store. The only way he's going to get counterfeit is if somebody comes in off the street. But I see him when you come in with coin, he's testing it. Right? He puts it on this meter and he tests it. He says, "Yep, this is gold. This is silver," and off he goes. And then he pays. Off he goes with that, and then he knows it's authentic. He puts out. If it's not, he's not going to buy it. He's not going to buy a 50% gold, 50% copper coin, right? He's not going to want to buy it because he's not going to want to sell it and ruin his reputation. So that's what you have in a bigger store. Now, the guy in the back room or a guy on the street, you probably shouldn't buy it from a guy on the street unless it's me, where I'm, telling you to, oh, you want to buy some gold, now with me, it would be gold, but that's where you can get in trouble as some guy and he's selling counterfeit. And you go, this doesn't look gold. And then all I can say is if you ever do that, and maybe we might have to down the road, you bring a magnet with you, and if it sticks to the magnet, run. So let's prove my point. So the magnet test, what's that? Well, if this is real, this won't stick. See, it doesn't stick. See, I can't. That means this is real. Okay, this isn't working either. Maybe this is silver. Well, I don't know. I thought this wouldn't stick. I got stuff that. Now, see, this isn't silver. I don't know why the coin is not sticking. Maybe this is a real silver coin. It's a 2000. Maybe they used silver in 2000. It's hysterical. Well, I don't know, but I know this doesn't stick. And if my silver, so that's part of it. So the silver's not sticking is fine. I'll try to go to poker tonight and teach. See, now before I would go to poker and I would say, are you in gold and silver? And most of the guys are in Bitcoin because they're basically idiots and mostly younger. So they don't know what they're doing, which is a problem. When you're investing, you certainly should know what you're doing. I think that's why people lose money, like in a Madoff or half of these stock problems. They don't know what they're doing. They're listening to other people. Usually they're listening to somebody else. So what did I hear on the Madoff thing? Well, my dad was in it, so I went in it because I'm trusting my dad's smart, not Madoff, that my dad would never be in it if there was a problem. So that's where you get the trust of your father or your husband or somebody who's in it. Well, John's in it. The SEC didn't find anything wrong. That's really what screwed it up. It was when the SEC said, oh, no, we don't find any problems. The guy from the Boston bank should have been taking out ads going, I find all these problems. Well, they did do a few articles, but they just didn't. I don't know. Maybe they didn't read it, but I would have taken out a big, large ad on New York Times Square and said, Madoff is a Ponzi scheme. This can't be happening. And but people wouldn't listen. They're making money. So the problem was they're making money. And so they didn't get out of it. But that's what happens. So that's how you're investing your money, is to make money. So if you're making money, you don't question it. You go, this is great. I'm making money. So you got to be careful about that. Like in craps, the 7's coming. So if you got if you're playing the numbers, you can only play them for a little bit, and then you got to get the hell out of them because the 7 is coming and will wipe you out. And that, just like the dollar's coming to get wiped out. So I'll go play poker. I'll talk to the boys who I'm at the table with, kind of, if they're talkable. See, now I'm getting to the next level where I'm like looking at the guy, how you doing? And if I get something, I can talk with him. Like last week was the Ukrainian guy, and he was a pretty nice guy. And he showed me he was an Olympic biathlete, and he had a little, bone problem there. He couldn't do it anymore. So he broke his arm. Seemed like a nice guy. We talked, but I'm learning now, instead of just talking at the table, are you in Bitcoin or that, I kind of relax. Now, before I used to go, I knew everybody in the room. And now I looked around last week and I go, who the fuck? I don't know any of these guys. It was like a whole new room. But I knew the guys working behind the counter were the same people. I mean, they're lifers at MGM. So anyway, I will ask that. But poker, again, it's trying to read the people, to try to learn where you stand with them. And again, I don't really hold them to me is all luck. It's, you got 2 cards. There's 5 in the middle, which just, you're fucked. I mean, it's almost impossible to really read. It's almost impossible. If you're playing with good people they're not going to tell you what they have. That's what the tell is. You just got to play your instinct and keep know when to bet, when to keep the pot small, when to risk, when not to risk, how much to risk. That's why I just take 300 out and go. Now, I've won thousands of dollars with 300 before, but that's what I'm comfortable with. And then if I lose it, I might play another set. Like if I'm in Vegas, I'll take 300 out. A couple hours later, I'll go eat. I'll go to the pool, and then I'll play again. But here, I come home. I'm not going to stay in Vegas. But that's what happens in Vegas. You're kind of there. Anyway, so I'll ask about that, but you got to be careful. Again, with crypto, it's not backed by anything. And if the dollar goes out, it doesn't have value. It's not a competitor to this. It's not money. It's not gold. It's fucking, I don't know what it is. I think if they came out with the coins with the B and they made them, and if you got it, you had the coin, I think it would help it. I think it being digital and not having a value and not being an asset, I don't think it really helps you. I don't see it. I don't know why people buy it. There's no reason to buy it. Okay, we're getting out of the dollar, but what's it? Okay, so the dollar goes to 0. What are you valuing it at? I know what my gold and silver will be. What are you valuing crypto at? There is no value for it. So, and then people are still running into stocks. Like, A, it's high, and B, it's going out. It's going to go very low. So why would I buy stocks now? So people are really confused. They really don't have any idea what they're doing, and they're all going to lose. And it's just like Madoff. Oh, he makes 15%. Everybody else is making 8%. That's great. I'll be in Madoff. He makes me money. I'll stay in. The 7 won't come on the table, and I'll never 7 out. And then when he goes out of business and says it's a Ponzi scheme. Oh, fuck, Phil, I did it again. Where's the top? How does it roll around the chair? So once I realized the Ponzi scheme, then I'm like, oh, I'm broke. Well, hello. That's why you quit a winner at poker. It'd be like playing poker and you get up $100 and then you get pocket aces and you bet 200 and the guy flops a set on you and you lose your 200. Now you're down 100. And what do? You're pissed because it inevitably is going to come. Your aces are going to get cracked by a set or 2 pair and you're fucked. And that's what I guard against because I know it's going to happen because it's such a luck game. And I got a pair of 7s and the 7 flops. Now I got 3 7s. Yeah, that was a lot of skill. And I got aces, and I should never lose with aces. But in this game, I lose. Now, if I'm playing 7-card stud, I never lose with aces because there's no community cards. He's only getting out what he gets, right? So he's got to get the third 7. Where now it's in the middle. And if the middle gets it, everybody gets to use it. That's the problem with the game. So you got to be careful. That's why I don't run down there, and it's not, I play it, but I more or less realize it's extremely difficult to not get burnt. So even if you get lucky enough to you flop the 3-7s against the aces, you got a time limit. And then you're going to get a bunch of 2-9 hands that you got to fold, which makes it a little more boring. So, it's a once a week thing for me. You're not going to make $1,000 a night at it, because you got to, not only do you got to get the trips, but you got to get the trips in the right time. He's got to have aces or kings when you get the trips. So if you have 7s and he has 2s and the flop comes 7, ace, king, you bet the 2s are going out. The 2s have no chance. All right, once in a while there's the bluff, but if you live by the bluff, you die by the bluff. It's not a good strategy for me. It's a way, if nobody's betting, to bet a small bet and then win a small pot. But I'm not going to make a $300 bet with nothing into a guy who's betting a lot. He ain't going out. So you got to know when you bluff, and then you read the bet tells you what the person has. So if he's betting $50, is he bluffing? And then if he is bluffing, if I go all in, is he going to fold? Or do I assume he's got a good hand because the way he's betting and the way he looks, probably not going to get him out with a $300 all-in bet if he's already put money in. Maybe he will. I mean, that's happened to me once or twice, but not a lot. I've had pocket kings, and I made a decent bet. Some guy goes over the top of me, and he's looking up at the TV, and I'm going, oh, fuck, he's got me. And it was a weird flop. I mean, unless he had a pair, he had trips. But then if he has trips, why is he going all in? Unless there was 8-9, I think it was 8-9. And then, so he has trips. He's trying to stop me from getting a straight, but I'm not betting, 6-7 for $25. And then here comes 8-9. And now, I'm on the road for a straight. So I didn't know what to do. I probably should have called. My gut instinct was to call the guy, and I folded. Just because I didn't want to risk all 300 on again, I didn't know where I stood, but I probably think he was bluffing. My gut was he was bluffing, but it wasn't worth the 300, even though I had kings, and even though I, almost guaranteed I won. You can't play it like you just fold and wait for a better time to put your money in. But I've seen the guy bluff before, so it wasn't I was surprised by his all in, but then I'm thinking, but if he's got a good hand, why would he be going all in? See, that's what you really have to think about the betting. So the guy makes a bet. Why did he bet? And then he raises you. Why did he raise me? And then he goes all in, and you're like, okay, what happened? Why did he make this big bet? Wouldn't you want me to call you if you had a good pair? If you had aces, wouldn't you want me to call you? And maybe he had aces. I don't know. But did the flop help you, or are you making a defense? So there's a lot of, he might have had aces. I don't know. But he didn't want me to call. Now, sometimes I got a real powerful hand, but because you have, because there's a flush draw on the board. So it comes 8-9 of diamonds. All right. I'm betting a lot with my aces for protection, like I buy gold and silver, right? I don't want to give you a free card. And then it's the 10 of diamonds, and now you either hit your flush or your straight. I don't want to do that. So what I want to do is I'm going to be more careful, and I'm going to make a big bet as protection, so you'll fold your straight or flush before it gets 8-9 10. So 8-9, you don't have a straight or flush, right? You only have 4 cards. The best you can do is 7, 8, 9, 10, or 4 diamonds. But I'm going to make it expensive for you to draw. And are you going to want to see it? Most of the time you're going to miss. So that's the protection. That's the protection bet. Now, I don't know if he was doing that or not. Maybe he was. And maybe he had aces and I had kings. I don't know. That's the other. I didn't think he was bluffing, or I thought he was bluffing, or that's the other scenario. he had the aces, or maybe he had the 4 diamonds or four to a straight and was making a big bet on the if come. I don't know. But I usually know that 90 times out of 91, I have a good sense. And if I'm aggressive, they don't usually come at me like that because they usually think when I'm aggressive, I got a good hand, which I usually do because I want to maximize what I win on it. And knowing aces aren't really a good hand, I don't want to dick around and let all 5 cards come out and the guy 2 pairs me with 2s and 7s because I let the board come out. So I usually am aggressive as protection, but I win with it. So that's all that matters. All right, what else? So stocks, gold, silver. Yes, I bought 10 ounces, 11 ounces yesterday, $25 an ounce. Unbelievable. And again, I think they're coming out with new paper U.S. currency, like the Canadians. It'll be plastic or whatever. And I know the euro and the Japanese yen are going to be new. Supposed to be 2024, but they might get moved up. We don't know how long this is going to last, and the war and the high interest rates and the debt. There's a lot of negative stuff. You can't just keep going with that. You can't, the whole thing's a little bit, we'll see. But that's what's happening. So I think that's about it. It's 2:30. I think I'm going to go. I don't know what to do. I got a stitch in my side. My back's a little tender. I was feeling great. And then all of a sudden, last night, it started to hurt me. So I don't know what to do. I don't know to work out or not, but I think I'll hit the pool and hot tub and steam and just soak and try to relax the muscle. I do have this, which is good. Maybe I'll put some of this on, but I'm afraid to do it now. I'd rather do it after the water because I don't know if it'll stay on me. I mean, this is okay, but it's not healing me, but it does make it feel better. So I don't know. And again, at night, you always get scared. What do I have? So it's really crazy. But anyway, I think that's about it. Sports, I'll start looking into the NBA. More I'll focus for the playoffs. Like I said, it's just too much. I did make a point about I made a point about what did I make a point about? Oh, I made a point about Fields being traded to Carolina, and I'm not sure he was, but the way this came out was Fields traded to Carolina. But then I'm reading, well, this is what the trade might be. So it was maybe he's going to Carolina, not he did go to Carolina. So I apologize for that, but I thought it clearly said that it had done that. So this is kind of neat. Airport brawl. Mother and daughter trade blows with Spirit Airlines agents over carry-on baggage. Let's quickly read this. Over carry-on baggage fees. Whenever I cheap flight, one of my travel tips is to stay away from low-cost carriers unless you do your research. Airlines like Allegiant, Frontier, and Spirit make their money by advertising low fares and then hitting you up for everything from assigned seats, which you don't have to take. This article is a lie. You don't have to take the assigned seat. You can say, no, you bought the seat. You just don't know where you're sitting. You don't give a shit. It's 3.5 hours to Vegas. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to be in a seat. Do I care if it's the aisle, middle, or window? If there's even 3 across? No. 3.5 hours wake me up. I'm in Vegas. I get off the flight. So, but I don't have to buy it. And carry on luggage too, which if you carry on to Vegas, you don't owe anything. It's only the stored luggage. Refreshments, including water. Well, that's it. And even printing your boarding pass. Now, I haven't seen that one. There's machines in Detroit where you, well, I get an email, so I know what it is. So I don't know what he's talking about. My advice is when you do a flight search, just don't grab the cheapest fare you see, especially from a low cost carrier. It could end up costing you more. Well, do you not think the other airlines are doing it too? Unbelievable. As soon as I heard that passengers were fighting with Spirit agents, why are they fighting? Why are the Spirit agents fighting? And why didn't they just call security? I knew it was over the baggage fees. Per the Daily Mail, a spokesman for the Philadelphia Police Department described the latest tussle as an allegation of simple assault, whatever. Several passengers were pulling apart a 24-year-old female complainant and her 17-year-old female, along with her 39-year-old mother, during an argument over additional baggage fees. Hey. So if I bitch about it, I won't have to pay it? The irate mother and daughter duo were flying from Philadelphia to Fort Lauderdale. A quick one-way search on Google Flights with a random next month shows how cheap Spirit Airlines are compared to the competition. Of course, if you're not a savvy traveler consumer, you're going to grab the Spirit flight for $48 over the Frontier for $129. Well, of course you will, but that's one way. So do you really think America $200 flight is going to be $400 versus $48? You're going to have $90. You're going to have $300 in fees. This guy's out of his mind. You might also think you can save even more money by not checking a bag, which you can. But when you fly one of these low fare carriers like Spirit, they're going to get you, since they charge for everything, including carry-on bags. I mean, that's a new one. According to their website, one personal item is included with your fare. Okay. This is something like a laptop bag or a purse smaller than that. People might not realize just how small 18 inches is. Okay, so maybe they don't allow the carry-on. What Spirit should say is that they only allow a personal item like a purse that will fit under the seat in front of you for free. If you want to use the overhead bin, it's going to cost you. Well, don't use the overhead bin. Slide it under the seat, and most likely more than your ticket. For example, I logged into Spirit and had a search. As you can see from the screenshot below, a carry-on bag at the time of booking is $57. It's $65 when checking in online and $99 at the gate. I mean, $99 to put a bag in the overhead bin. That's enough to drive a sane person crazy. I'm not defending the answer. So don't put it in the overhead bin. Bring a small suitcase that goes underneath the seat. Hello? It's okay. This is why Spirit. So if their price is cheaper, so add that with the carry-on, and that's what the cost of your ticket is. You don't have to buy the seat. So what's the problem? I'm sure their price of their ticket went down if it's $48, and then just so it's sort of like going to a restaurant. Like if you go to Morton's, you get the steak, but then it's, oh, you want a baked potato? Well, that's $10, and you want a salad? That's $10. So nothing comes with the meal. Oh, how is that any different? Mother and daughter are seen trading blows with Spirit Airlines agents in video. Why would the agents do this? Watch on Twitter. No, thank you. Now, see, if it was Ric Flair and his daughter, they'd put him in figure fours, and that would have ended it right there. Or The Rock. The Rock would have first said, "Do you smell what I'm cooking?" And then he would have done rock bottom on him. And then he would have walked on the plane. But he would have gave him the people's eyebrow. This calm, cool man. Well, I don't want to get too much into this story, but basically, what do they expect to happen? And the other question is why in the world is the mother and daughter fighting over it? Why would you fight over it? It's like going to a hotel and then, you want room service. Well, that's going to be extra. Or You open up the mini bar and you got to pay for a Coke $10. Like, what's wrong? Why are you surprised by that? You should know that's what it is. So it's just really funny the way these people act, and they want to fight, right? They want to fight because they don't want to pay this for overhead. Okay, well, this is what it is. Why are you fighting me? Just let it go. This is the rule. If you don't like it, contact the airlines. I'm not going to fight you. This is not me doing it. This is coming from the head of the airlines. But are they lowering the ticket price enough to now charge for the overhead? Now, what I would have done if it was me is I would have given the lady like a 20 and say, here's $20. I'll keep it under the seat. She takes the money and off you go. Money always talks. So if you're in that situation, you offer them a 20 or $20, $30, and nope, you can put it in the overhead, not a problem. Because then it goes into their pocket. Nobody knows. The airlines doesn't know if they did it or not. There's no cameras in the overhead. But that's what I did. I did that when my girlfriend was here from Romania. She had so much shit in her suitcase, and it weighed a lot. And we took it to the curb at Metro. Instead of checking it at the counter, we took it to the curb where they put it on the plane from there. And I gave the guy $50. I think I gave him 40 or $50. She had 2 luggages, and it was going to cost $100 on each, right? Or something like that. And I gave the guy directly, here's $50. And he said, no problem. Put them on the conveyor, and off they went. And that was what we had to pay for them. So, once they get on that conveyor belt, they're going on the airline because nobody knows what happened at that point. So, yeah, I did the same thing when I went to Lisbon. I had my black bag that I take to the gym, and I filled it up, and then I had my small suitcase. So I wasn't going to check a bag. So I was going to bring the small suitcase for the overhead and the black bag under the seat. But it's a pretty big black bag, but I could fill it. And then I get to the state and I says, am I going to owe you anything? Because it says you get the carry-on and the small bag. And the small bag was a little bit bigger, but still under the seat. And she said, no, it's international. Nobody cares. And if you're flying, to, US, yeah, it would be a problem, but international, nobody cares. The planes aren't full, So I put both of them in the overhead and flew to Frankfurt. And that's what happened. So I was like fine with it. And then I knew on the return. So if I go international, I'm taking my small bag and the black bag. Now, if I was going to Vegas, I would just take the black bag and then stick it under the seat. And if I had to, you kind of know if I have to pay, I have to pay, but there's nothing you can do, but you're hoping that you can carry it on. That's all I can say. And then it probably depends on the agent. So maybe on one flight you carry it on, it's no problem. On the next flight, you carry it on and I'm going to charge you. So we will see. But, there's a lot of rules. It's like anything else. You try to do your homework, and if it costs you a little bit more, who cares? It's just paper. And there's nothing you can do. So you just pay for it. What are you going to do? You got to pay for it. You can't be stupid and you can't fight. That's just stupidity. What's the point of fighting? I'm fighting an agent. Okay, what is that going to get you? Is she going to drop your charges because you're fighting? Maybe she sues you for assault because you hit her. And it's on camera. It's on Twitter. So I'm gonna really get fucked because this is going to be on Twitter and it's going to be assault because I'm hitting this agent. You can't hit the company. The company can hit you, and you got to hire a lawyer. They'll probably get away with it. But if you're hitting the company, so if you're hitting Spirit's employees, that means Spirit's attorneys get involved. You're not going to win that. They probably won't let you travel anymore, and they're probably going to sue you for assault. And you're going to bitch, but you're wrong. You can't hit people. So, you got to be smart, but we'll see. And once this shit hits the fan, I'm going to be curious. See, what I'm curious is what's going to happen. Am I going to be able to travel to Europe? And what am I going to use for currency? So I'm assuming they just come out with new currency that I can get the new euro with. And really, it's the same. It's the same thing. They're still not backed by gold. They're still bullshit. And then we keep buying more and more gold, but the value of the gold will go up thanks to China and the BRICS. And that's really the key. So then it's how do I travel with this? Do I put it in my little suitcase? Do I keep it in my pocket? If I keep it in my pocket and then I go with the plastic things, I'm just going to put it with the plastic things and off it go. Do I take the whole 20 or do I take 10 of these? That's the thing. So this will be a very interesting thing. Anyway, what else? What else could we talk about? Football, not a lot. We'll do a draft video. I got to figure out who's going to get drafted and who's in the draft pool so I can rate them. And then we'll look at after the draft. I'm still wondering about, so I'm hearing like, oh, Galaprio will go to Tampa Bay. I'm going, they got Trask. Are they not going to play Trask? Is Trask not as good as I thought he was from Florida? This I got to see. But see, it's the same thing with Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy was a very good quarterback. And if you listen to my tape, I probably thought he was good and surprised he didn't get drafted. However, as soon as he plays, he's very good. So that's, I think, what you're going to get with Kyle Trask. He's very good once you play him, like Zappy, right? They don't play Zappy. He comes in and lights it up. Like, there you go. He can play. So I'm really curious what New England's thinking with Jones instead of Zappy. The only thing I can think of is they're Zappy's learning Jones. They'll trade him, and then they'll go to Zappy. But they're wasting time because Jones can't win. Zappy would. Zappy would have beat Buffalo. Jones can't. That's the difference. So you're losing a lot now. And then what are you going to do? Trade Zappy or trade Jones? You don't need them both. But I don't know. I'll do a draft thing. But with this whole COVID thing, it's all screwed up. Rising, Hartman, Van Dyke are now playing another year in college when they should be out. Because of COVID, they get an extra year. So it's really screwing up the draft. So I got to see who's in the draft thing. Outside of that, I don't know. I think I'll hit the hot tub and figure out what's going on with my side. I know it's not the appendix because according to the doctor, because I thought I had it once, the appendix moves around. So if you have a pain in your side or in your lower back, it ain't the appendix. The appendix would move here, there, and everywhere. And it would be very violent pain. The other thing I know is symptoms. I'm not throwing up and I don't have a fever. So that rules out a lot of kidney and liver and bullshit like that, which leads you to just the sore pain. Maybe something is stuck in your, you have a seed stuck or something like that. I've had that before, like a cherry seed got stuck and I go, oh, it's an appendix. He said, no, it hasn't moved. And then it came out, 2 days later, it was fine. So keep in mind, the appendix will move around and you'll be vomiting. So if you have pain, but it's not moving and you're not vomiting, it's something stuck and it'll dislodge. If you have to, you do a fast and that'll clean you up for sure. So with my back, I'm very close to doing another 72-hour fast. I have to get my determination up, but I just bought I took hamburgers out of the freezer, so I think I'll cook them tomorrow. Today's Chinese food, and then maybe when I'm done with them, I'll do a 3-day fast. I got to fix my back. It's funny. I just think fasting fixes everything. If you break your bones and your body can fix it, believe me, if you have a back issue, just let your body fix it. It will fix it. So anyway, so I think that's it today. Any questions, comments? No comments today. Bobby must be busy. Phil probably working. Nick, I don't know. So anyway, guys, I hope you learned. I thought it was a very good class, very educated. So anyway, www.teaserking.com. You get my email if you want to email me for anything. And off we go. So I think I'm going to have a little bit to eat and swim and get Chinese. And then try to figure out what's on because there's no football. Unless I turn on an old Rose Bowl game, which I'd love to do. Or, yeah, today might be bowling. I might check out Mark Roth versus Earl Anthony or something. So we will see. All right, everybody. Have a nice day. Good luck. Be safe. Take care, everybody. Okay. We will talk to you tomorrow.